Well, here we go, Nick. We're about to go racing. 12 minutes and 1 lap, remember, for these A finals.
The 48's not started.
Oh, no way. That's Ben Adrian.
Oh, the thing's just died.
Oh, my goodness. Water in the carburetor is that is absolutely tragic for the youngster.
And nothing happened.
That is absolutely tragic for the youngster. Over no fault of his own, an engine malady there. Maybe it was water in the electrics, water in the carburetor. It shouldn't be in the carburetor. They have pretty thick, substantial air boxes. It's Weizerek who goes off into the lead, and it's the number 119 of Leo Basterfield, who is right with him. Eddie Stewart taking a bit of a watching brief there in third. They're all slipping and sliding around. Sonny Morgan's already gotten ahead of Seb Corking. In fact, he was ahead just at the start, actually.
Adrian's got the cart running, so he has lost a bit of his man to get the thing running. Massive
amount of ground lost.
But into the lead, and happily, the man who won easily the wet heat we had of the Minimax team, and that is a race which was Kazir Vizicek. He's got out in the front again, not being let go last time. Last time he got a big gap and the others were all arguing. But coming round in second place, it is going to be Leo Basterfield, and then you got the 45 cart of Eddie Stewart as they come into the very, very wet Oblivion section.
So behind Stewart, Riley Thatcher in fourth, Seb Corking back ahead of Sonny Morgan by quite a considerable margin there as they head up towards Christmas. Then Sonny Morgan sixth, Daniel Haynes behind them. But look at these two at the front, Weizerek with Leo Basterfield right. He's glued, isn't he? He's glued. He's given. Yeah, I can feel you. I can feel you there. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the little bit of extra push out of the corner.
Well, Sonny Morgan didn't enjoy the wet heat earlier.
No, he didn't.
Whether he's now worked out what to do and he can put it a bit forward, but he doesn't seem to be having that same sort of action. Oh, and it was an in and over, but it ended up with the same result, first and second unchanged.
That's Seb Corking being... Who is that in front of Seb there? He was being held up a little bit there through the corner. Yeah, I think it is Riley Thatcher on the 83. Seb Corking trying all he can there. But meanwhile, at the front of this field, Weizerek just takes a check on over his shoulders to see where Basterfield is. Eddie Stewart, you can't discount young Eddie. He's there, and they had that cart really, really sorted, didn't they, in the third heat? He came from the back of the field and came through and back up to second. So they really know how to set that cart up in the wet.
Yeah, I mean, it was a late decision to go into wet for these guys. So they've had a chance, an hour and a half or so, to think about settings. So everyone should be at least onto whatever their wet settings are.
Yeah, you would think.
Give them a chance. I mean, Sonny Morgan, who was 2.5 seconds a lap slower in the last heat, is actually now just a little bit off the pace, not a lot off the pace. So they've obviously managed to dial the cart in more to Sonny's liking. Sebastian Corking really needs to I think, pass Thatcher.
He's been held up, isn't he? There's no doubt he's been stifled. Seb Corking being stifled. Oh, and Eddie Stewart just swaps ends there. I'm not really quite sure what on earth happened as Seb Corking goes round the outside. We'll have a quick look at Eddie, and he just got caught out by Basterfield going on the brakes, so he kind of braked a little bit harder. That's we've all done it. We've all done it.
Now, what has happened there is that's kind of opened it up for.
I'll tell you what's happened there, mate. Seb Corking went round the outside of Riley Thatcher while we were looking at that replay. He's now into a clear third.
Sonny Morgan's in fourth.
And chasing after Basterfield, Riley Thatcher has now lost that fourth place to Sonny Morgan, who has come through. Eddie Stewart will recover and try to regain those places. He's proved earlier on that he can do that and come from the back. But he's got it all to do again. Heavens.
Well, Kazari is very, very relaxed in these wet conditions. He led the entirety of the Minimax Heat 3 in the damp, and he's been leading this one since 3 corners in.
Right, we've had 4 minutes, right? We've had the additional 4 minutes of a final. Now we're into heat distance. 8 minutes. We're just inside of 8 minutes now. So they've all done this before. Let's see if they can all do it again. It's very, very treacherous out there for all of these drivers.
No, Basterfield dropped 0.3 that lap. Corking and Morgan are 1.4 and 1.2 apart in respectively. Eddie Stewart only 4.5 seconds off the lead at the moment.
1.3 Basterfield to Corking, and Corking is the fastest man on the track at the moment, 64.7. He's the only driver to have gone into the fours. The only other driver is Eddie Stewart on a 64.9.
He's only 4/10 faster than Casri, so he's going to need to find a bit more than that if he's going to get to the front. He's got cars to get past as well, and that'll take time.
Cars?
Carts. I say cars and carts. Interchangeable.
No.
I would say bikes, which is a good start, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because that can go very wrong. Vehicles. Can't go wrong with vehicles. You're absolutely safe on that one.
The Viserek coming out of the boot. Basterfield not really gaining any ground, is Leo. Just nice and smooth from both of these karts in the lead. And then Seb Corking, let's see what the gap is. Oh, it's down to 0.9. He's gaining ground on Basterfield ahead of him. Now, these were the two competitors that came together in a very nasty way at Mansell. I'm pretty sure they've both learned a big lesson from that as Corking comes right onto the bumper of Basterfield. And in these very, very treacherous conditions, it's one thing catching the kart in front. It's a completely different art form getting by. And we'll just see what happens here. As Viserek, he hasn't pulled away like he did in the heat, has he, Nick? He's, we've got Basterfield keeping him honest. And Corking, likewise, keeping Basterfield honest. This is a great race from the Minimax lot as ever. We're just inside of 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Casri was miles ahead in the heat, but I think that's possibly because he may have just guessed or got to them quicker. I think
plus, we had the other karts behind him were tripping each other over, weren't they?
Now everyone has the wet setup. He's still showing that mastery of the conditions, but other drivers are able to get a little bit closer. Basterfield's a bit ebbing and flowing, isn't he? He's having good laps, bad laps. He's now right on the tail of Casri, going 3/10 there after losing a second over the previous 2 laps.
Well,
the rain's consistent. It's not drying out. It's staying as it is.
Viserek has just lost that gap. He's lost the cushion. He's now got not just Basterfield, but Corking's in contention now. So if Viserek puts a wheel wrong, if he gets a little bit too sideways, a little bit anxious on the throttle and starts spinning the wheels up, he will have He's going to find himself very busy.
Who's that?
That's 33.
Viserek gone.
Viserek has gone. He spun off.
See that we got that one. Maybe just missed it in the excitement. Did we get it? It was
too far away for us to see. Now we've got the two protagonists that came together at the front of the field last time at Mansell. They were battling for second and third place. Now they're battling for first and second. It was intense at Mansell. It's even more intense here at Whilton Mill. Basterfield seems to be able to hold that pace really, really well. 65.2, 65 dead for Corking. Corking's got the run.
Very different lines.
Yes, very different. And Corking's got momentum, but then they equal out by the time they get midway up the straight. It's a kind of a variation on an opinion on what line to take, isn't it, from these two youngsters?
There's a great belief that as much curb as possible is the right thing to do at Whilton Mill. But beyond that, everyone's going to make it up as they go along.
They're very, very close, aren't they, towards Parker.
Corking is actually adding an extra half horsepower to Basterfield most of the time by tapping him on. He's bump drafting almost.
He's helping, isn't he? He is helping. There's still 3 minutes and 40 seconds or so to go. So still plenty of racing left in this final.
Yep. Kazari was back intense. He'd be hitting him, really sorry for himself for that one.
And the thing is, Nick, the drivers know that because they see the timing board there, 3 minutes 17. They all can see it. So, yeah, they're just, let's just continue round. Let's just continue to follow one another round. Here's Corking. He's going to have a go down the inside on the brakes. Corking moves to the inside. And Basterfield makes room for him this time.
I think Basterfield's looking for an over and under.
Yeah,
I think.
Basterfield. You know what? Basterfield looks like he knows where the grip is, doesn't he? He's coming back at Corking into Ashby. The downhill right-hander. Lots of understeer from Corking there. He's got the traction using all of the curb.
But who's right behind them and gaining?
Eddie Stewart. He's coming. The comeback kid, Eddie Stewart.
That was 4.5 seconds to the hit between him and the leader, and now it's 1.7.
Wow. If anything, Eddie Stewart's got enough time to get up back on terms. These two still together.
Was the fastest lap by anyone in the race, 104.5. And now these two are slowing each other up. But Eddie Stewart is the coming lad, not the coming man, and old not becoming men, they're coming lads.
Well, let's see where it is, Nick. As they cross the line, it was 1.4 seconds. It's still 1.4. Sorry. It was 1.4. It's 1 second.
Yep.
It's come down from 4 seconds. So Corking pulling a bit of a cushion away and sort of eking out that cushion from Basterfield. And very soon, Basterfield is going to have to deal with Eddie Stewart.
Yeah, I think Stewart's got the pace on Basterfield. I think Corning might be able to stay ahead. Unless obviously something goes horribly wrong like that, we just drift slowly onto the excess curbing there outside Ashby. But
I think Seb Corking has proved in the past he's got a very cool head in whatever conditions. Let's hope I haven't hexed that, Seb. Come on. As well as Leo Basterfield, who seemed to know where the grip was, and he was able to maintain that pace over the lap.
Well, interestingly, Stewart's not made a huge gain this lap.
Basterfield, you know what?
Fighting.
Basterfield went really wide at the boot and put his left-hand rear wheel off the track. He knew what he'd done, and he was just checking where Eddie was. Eddie's down to 7/10 gap now. We're soon not going to need to stop much.
Yeah, Eddie lost time on our leader, Sebastian Corking, but gained time on Leo Basterfield. So Corking, as you say, and this is quite a big question, if he can keep it on the island, which is quite a big if these days, then he should be okay. There'll be this lap and possibly 2 more, actually.
Yeah, that's right. We're already... So 2 more laps, we estimate.
I think 2.5 more, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there's Stewart. Stewart now right on the bumper of Basterfield. Out of Ashby, heading towards the left-hander at Parker. Both drivers using the inside line there. They use all of the track and more around the outside of Chapman, though. And then that short blast down. It's a very fast section of track here. Down towards the braking area for the boot. And this is where we slip and slide. Leo Basterfield, again, using all of the track. Coming out of the boot and through the final turn to complete what will be 11 laps now.
Just made it by 1 second.
Wow, incredible.
1.5 seconds they've made, so they've got 2 laps to go.
Incredible. 2 more laps to go. Corking is checked out. Corking is gap out to a second. That's night and day in comparison to what we've seen. And Eddie Stewart now looking very racy indeed. Right on the bumper of Basterfield, down the hill to Ashby's, and down the inside. He's gone for the challenge. They're side by side, using all the curb. And Eddie Stewart, he's moved ahead of Basterfield. And great driving from both of these drivers. They could have easily have gotten too anxious and too intense, but they didn't. I don't think they even touched in any way, shape or form there.
Very clean pass by Stewart. But the question really is
textbook.
Whether Basterfield's going to accept this or now going to try and see being the hunter is easier than being the hunted. There is 1 more lap, and this long, the corner which seems so easy in the dry, and they whip round in the wet. It's like a 17,000 steering wheel input corner. Coming out into oblivion. Final lap.
Yeah,
Corking leading by 1.6.
Corking, the winner of round 1 at Three Sisters, on his way to win his second final of the season. It's treacherous out there, though, so I'm not going to say too much about that. Eddie Stewart, once again, the comeback kid. That's what we're going to call Eddie, because he spun out in the 3rd heat and made his way back through to 2nd. And he spun out in the final, and he's made his way back again through the field and is currently 2nd, and if anything, closing the gap. However, Seb Corking, he's the fastest driver on the track at the moment with a 64.2. Eddie Stewart's last lap, 64.3.
Corking
as the leader. Let's pick up the leader as we go into the boot. There's Corking. No, that's not Corking. That's a back marker. Corking will be coming through behind him. There's Seb, the 52, who crosses the line and acknowledges the checkered flag in fine style. So that's going to put him back ahead of Sonny Morgan, I would say, in the championship.
Yeah, Morgan's battled back to 4th, Joe, but the big loser out of that one is obviously Kasper Vizicek, who was leading and then just lost it. And he'll be the one who'll be having a difficult night's sleep as he runs over that corner, braking again and again and again. But that's racing for you. Some days in weather like this, when it seems like it's all going to go right, it suddenly goes all wrong.